I like your outfit.
Thank you very much.
Yes, looking sharp.
Thank you, I tried.
The beard game?
Yeah. No, got a little something. You know, that's what happens when you're on hiatus.
Who cares? I own a ranch. I love the mountain man look. It looks cool. I love the beard. So you were just in Dubai. I have to show everybody this. You were with Shaq, Steve Harvey, and Ray Lewis. What were you doing there?
Oh, wow. We were
That's
there.
quite a crew.
Yeah, those are my Omega Psi-Phi brothers, too. So we were there for the F1 and Steve Harvey's golf tournament for charity.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, true or false, I love your beard game, but I did hear that when you were on Law & Order, you were asked to get rid of it because Dick Wolf's wife didn't like it.
That's the word on the street. My first stint on Law & Order back in 2008, 2009, I came with a beard, not as full as this, but I came with a beard. We did a full season, and then my second season on the show, got a call in the Dick Wolf's office. I thought I was in trouble, and they were like, yeah. Jeremy Sisto and I both had beards, and we thought we were both getting fired because we both got called into the office.
Oh, no.
And basically, it was like, you guys need to shave tomorrow. And they worked it into the script, and we had to shave our beards.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
She is a powerful woman.
Yeah, well, you know,
hey,
happy wife, happy life.
Okay.
You know?
It does, it does sometimes go the other way.
Yeah.
You've traveled with other celebrities as well. So didn't you go to the Bahamas with Michael Jordan? You hang out with some
I mean, you know, I have an eclectic group of friends that I hang out with.
No one goes anywhere with Michael Jordan, dude.
I do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, is he competitive? Because he's, you know, obviously.
Very competitive. He's competitive at everything.
Do you beat him at anything? That's got to feel good.
You know what? I like to preserve my friendship with MJ.
Which means you do.
So I have twice in my life. Yeah.
That felt good.
No, it did.
I would have called everyone.
I did. But this was years ago. MJ, I'm sorry, I didn't bring this up. They just been bringing this stuff up.
I totally wanted to know.
No, we played golf.
Oh, okay.
Back in the Bahamas years ago. And he gave me my strokes. He's a much better player than I am, so he gave me my strokes. But I actually beat him that day without the strokes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That felt good.
Yeah, it did. And, you know, it wasn't real big money, but it was enough money. I won like $900, and he balled the money up and threw it at my face.
It's a poor sport.
And told me I'm never getting strokes again. And ever since then, he's never given me my strokes.
I know, but that's like graduating to like you're on the same level. That's all that was.
Not too many people can say that they beat MJ at anything.
I know. That's why I would make a shirt.
Yeah.
And wear it.
Love you, MJ. Keep the shoes coming. Keep the shoes coming.
Well, I heard this and I have to ask, is it true that you pulled your mom's tooth last year? Like, was there not a dentist available or?
Well, okay, so...
Were you going method, studying for a role?
My mother and I were off in Europe this past summer for 6 weeks, and...
Oh, wow.
She came around and was like, baby, I was like, what? She said, baby, my tooth is hanging by a thread. And I was like, all right, you want me to pull it? She said, yeah, baby, pull it. And so I just yanked it out of her head.
Oh.
But that's it.
Your mama's bold.
Yeah. But it was a crown. Look, and she's happy, showing the world. It was a crown that she had in her head, in her mouth for 16, 17 years, so it was due to come out.
Yeah.
And it was just dangling, so I just pulled it out. And so then I sent her to my dentist, and she was like, "You owe your dentist $3,000."
Because you did this to
why?
me.
She said, "Because you didn't pull my tooth out right." I was like, "How does a person pull a tooth out right?" I was like, "It's not my fault. It was rotten."
Yeah, and it hung in there for a good amount of time. I feel like that was a solid...
16, 17 years, it finally came out, and there was some residue left up in there, but that's between my mama and her dentist.
I've actually had that happen to me before, and I'm just driving around, like, with my friend, and I'm like, ah! I was like, and I've only had, like, 3 fillings, but one of them just came out, and I was like, does this just happen when you start to get old?
Yeah,
like,
it happens.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was a huge tooth. My mother has, like, dinosaur teeth.
All right.
Yeah, it was a big one.
She probably appreciates that. What were you and your mom doing in Italy? You went for 6 weeks overseas?
We went for 6 weeks in Europe. My mother and I, we have our own reality show. Yeah. We haven't come up with the title yet, but it's going to be released this summer on Peacock. And it was just us and our travels throughout Europe.
I love that.
Yeah, we did London, Kent, Paris, Cannes, Lyon, Venice, Rome, Florence, and back to
Dang.
London. So we did all that for 6 weeks.
That's so cool to experience with your mom. That's a good idea just to have a bunch of people do that with their parents.
Yeah, dude,
like,
no,
yeah.
it's not a good idea to travel with your mama for 6 weeks.
It is.
You know,
I'm about
6 days, yeah, but 6 weeks, nah.
I was gonna say, I'm about to be in Italy with my mom for 6 days.
Yeah, that's cool. 6
Yeah.
days is a limit.
Yeah.
That should be the limit.
She's really good about it, though. My mom is good if I'm like, look, you can't keep up, so I gotta go, but I'll be back. And like, she's good about being like, yeah, I'll be here with my book. Like,
No, that's not my mama. My mama want to be a part of everything.
oh, well, my mom probably wants to, but like, look,
Yeah.
I want to walk around.
Yeah, no, my
Yeah.
mama wants to be in the club. She wants to be in the parties. She wants to do all that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
My
my
mom's
mama.
good with a book. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really happy about that. It should be a good vacation. There's this photo of your mom with Janet Jackson, and I love this because it looks like you were kind of pushed out of the shot. Like,
That's exactly what happened. So Janet was in town, so I called my friend up, called Johnny Gill up, and said, hey, man, Janet's in town. My mama want to meet Janet. So then Janet had her people call me. She said, we're going to be at this club at such and such. I'll be there at midnight, 12:30. I said, okay. So I show up.
she shows up at 12:30?
Yeah.
I am so not cool.
Yeah, so we get there, and my mom was like, so I take it back, and it's just Janet, myself, and my mom, and one of Janet's friends, and we're just sitting there, and my mom was like, come on, do it. I was like, do it. She said, come on, check the picture. Check that picture. I was like, Mom, we just can't take a picture of Janet. I was like, I have to ask her. So I was like, hey, Janet, my mom would love to take a picture. She said, I would love to take a picture with your mom. So as we're all posing there, and I was like, 3, 2, 1, my mama pushes me out the way as I click the button. That's why you only got half of my face. And it been, look how she's smiling. Like, get out of my way, sucker.
But her teeth look great.
Yeah, that was prior to me yanking that rotten one out of her mouth.
What is going on in this pic with your Blackish co-star, Dion Cole, who I love? I just need to know. Like, this,
Look at my belly.
look at, hey. This, I mean, you're obviously doing Prince.
Okay, I didn't know you were
I
doing
love that
All
you
right.
see, I love that we see something that others don't. I didn't even think of that when I'm looking at the whole freaking picture.
Look at my navel.
I gotta be honest with you, I would look identical if I put that on right now.
Okay. No, that was.
You're doing Prince, obviously.
Yeah, we're doing Prince. That was Blackish's 100th episode. And the entire episode was an ode to Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
so
love
that's what we
Dion.
did. Oh, Dion's the best.
He's so
Yeah.
funny and kind.
Yeah,
He's
he
cool.
is. Yeah, Dion Cole, I love you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my brother.
And he keeps it real too. I know he has been going, there's a lot of life situations.
Yeah.
And I like that he's honest about it. Because people in the public eye, you look up to people that you love seeing on shows, whatever. And when they break down the mirrors, the smoke and mirrors, it's nice. It makes everybody feel connected. And I think that's really
Well, no,
nice. So
definitely.
I love him. But you have a very important campaign right now, and it's called Get Real About Diabetes. I actually have a couple friends that are diabetic, which is a serious thing. So what can you tell us about it? What do you mean by Get Real?
Get Real About Diabetes. I partnered with Novo Nordisk a little more than 5 years ago to bring awareness to people with type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
I've been a type 2 diabetic for 21 years now. And as a diabetic, it's more than just monitoring your glucose and your blood sugar levels. It's also worrying and being conscious of the other things that happen, which is cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I lost my father to cardiovascular disease from complications of being a diabetic. So it's about me just giving my testimonial out there to people and driving them to our website. You can Google Get Real About Diabetes and see what it's about. But as a type 2 diabetic, I'm 4 times as likely to have a stroke or cardiovascular disease or a heart attack.
That's scary.
So I just want to educate people about the things. And if you can look at the transformation that I've made now, it's because of that.
You know what, though? A lot of people, what is your main motivation for that? A lot of people need to be motivated, or obviously life, and you don't want anything like that to happen, but I don't know, I feel like people can tell you, doctors can tell you left and right, like, this is wrong, you should make this change, you should make change, you're like, got it. But what do you think made you finally do it?
One, losing my father. to my mother being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes as well. I was the first person diagnosed in my family with it.
Oh my gosh.
And just learning to live with the disease and not die from it.
Yeah.
You know, because I look around and I see what happens to people who go unchecked and don't check themselves, like my dad was. And it's just about sharing this information. You know, February is American Heart Month. And so that's why I'm really out there talking about it, you know, to get people motivated, to get people moving, to make a change in their life, just to do healthier things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you recently got your degree from Howard University, and
Yes, I did.
I heard that you started there and then 30 years. It took 30 years because you're working, right? Was that really important to you?
Yeah, it was. I started back, I'm about to date myself, 1988. I was a freshman.
Yeah.
And I made it through the end of my junior year and just ran out of money. And so I decided to come back home to LA, live with my parents, with every intention on going back to Howard University to finish.
College is expensive.
Yeah, it is. But then life just gets in the way. You know, you end up, you know, meeting somebody, getting married, having a family, the career takes off, and the next thing you know, it's 35 years later. And my son got accepted to Howard, and I was like, you know what? You're motivating me to go back to Howard University to get my degree. And I said, I'm going to walk with you in 2022. Unfortunately, real life got in his way, and he didn't graduate, but I kept my word to him and myself and to everybody else out there, and I walked in 2022 and got my degree from Howard University.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool, because it's never too late.
It's
I
never
hate
too
how
late.
people are always ageist about certain things, because it's like, I think if anything, like in 2023, we now know you can be any age at any point in your life and make a huge change in it, be a fresh start and like a whole new like life for you, or finish something that you've told yourself you're going to do.
No, it was a beautiful thing walking back on that campus 35 years later and
Proud
walking
moment.
across the stage and having my degree and receiving my degree from Felicia Rashad Allen.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, so that was beautiful.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Not everyone's story.